Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Together we'll chant Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11, verses 41 to 50.
सखेति मत्वा प्रसभं यदुक्तम् हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति अजानता महिमानं तवेदम् मया प्रमादात् प्रणयेन वापि यच्छावहासार्थमसत्कृतोऽसि विहारशय्यासनभोजनेषु एकोऽथवाप्यच्युत तत्समक्षम् तत्क्षामये त्वामहमप्रमेयम् पितासि लोकस्य चराचरस्य त्वमस्य पूज्यश्च गुरुर्गरीयान् न त्वत्समोऽस्त्यभ्यधिकः कुतोऽन्यः लोकत्रयेऽप्यप्रतिमप्रभाव तस्मात् प्रणम्य प्रणिधाय कायम् प्रसादये त्वामहमीशमीढ्यम् पितेव पुत्रस्य सखेव सख्युः प्रियः प्रियायार्हसि देव सोढुम् अदृष्टपूर्वं हृषितोऽस्मि दृष्ट्वा भयेन च प्रव्यथितं मनो मे तदेव मे दर्शय देवरूपम् प्रसीद देवेश जगन्निवास किरीटिनं गदिनं चक्रहस्तम् इच्छामि त्वां द्रष्टुमहं तथैव तेनैव रूपेण चतुर्भुजेन सहस्रबाहो भव विश्वमूर्ते श्रीभगवानुवाच मया प्रसन्नेन तवार्जुनेदम् रूपं परं दर्शितमात्मयोगात् तेजोमयं विश्वमनन्तमाद्यम् यन्मे त्वदन्येन न दृष्टपूर्वम् न वेदयज्ञाध्ययनैर्न दानैः न च क्रियाभिर्न तपोभिरुग्रैः एवं रूपः शक्य अहं नृलोके द्रष्टुं त्वदन्येन कुरु प्रवीर मा ते व्यथा मा च विमूढभावः दृष्ट्वा रूपं घोरमीदृङ्ममेदम् व्यपेतभिः प्रीतमनः पुनस्त्वं तदेव मे रूपमिदं प्रपश्य सञ्जय उवाच इत्यर्जुनं वासुदेवस्तथोक्त्वा स्वकं रूपं दर्शयामास भूयः आश्वासयामास च भीतमेनं भूत्वा पुनः सौम्य वपुर्महात्मा
So many interesting things for us to see in these verses where Arjuna talks. It is not, there's no philosophy here, but so much psychology for us to learn. For instance, as we progress, as we grow spiritually, our relationship with God differs. Initially, it is a relationship that is a very distant thing. First, he doesn't figure on our mental horizon at all. I mean, 90% of the world, they're like nothing to do with him at all. Like, oh, he must be there somewhere. They are neither theists nor atheists. They just, it's not a question or a point that ever occurs to them one way or then you become somewhat ritualistic. You're told you have to do X, Y, and Z. Like you remember during the weddings or when someone passes away, there's always some elderly person or someone who claims to be well informed in the subject who will tell you, it's time, ye karna chahiye, wo karna chahiye. And so, kya karna chahiye, kya nahi karna chahiye. So you just basically do whatever that person tells you, whoever that person around is, who makes these comments that I used to have a maid who used to always tell me, she thought I was a very big Nastic. She used to tell me, you have to do the fast on this day, and on this day you have to eat only this and not this, and ye sab shastro mein likha hai. So I was like, please tell me which shastra have you found this written in? But no point arguing, and I accepted being a Nastic instead. That was more sensible. So she, her relationship, people are like that. There is someone in that environment who will tell you that this has to be done, that has to be done. You have to do those things. So your relationship with God is extremely superficial. You're just basically doing what somebody tells you to do because you don't have the time or energy or interest to think about it. So God is a very distant thing. Now, when you start developing some kind of relationship, you talk about him in some way, then you say he is this and she is that, depending on who your goddess is. If you are in Eastern India, you probably say she is very ferocious. If you are in Jerusalem, then you say he is very something or the other. So it's a very distant relationship. It's a he or a she or a it, whatever you want. So it's a distant relationship. And then when it starts dawning on you that this is something important, its importance starts growing in your heart, then God is no longer he or she or it. God is you, second person. It's not that distant figure in the sky somewhere, but someone with whom you have a personal relationship. And that was the whole Protestant movement, if you remember. The Catholic Church was always, there was always, an intermediate, and what is the word they use? I think you are not muted unless you want to say something.
Intermediary?
Not intermediate. Intermediary is a general word, but there's a specific word they use. Will come to me soon. So there's somebody between you and God. There's a whole church there. All the priests are there. All of this is there. Again, the Protestant movement said, forget it. I'm not interested in these intermediaries. I will go directly to God. My relationship is with God directly. So I don't need the whole church around me. So the relationship sort of becomes, not pleased that I'm saying that Protestants are better than the Catholics in any way. No such thing is meant. It's just meant that some people felt, I want to directly deal with the Lord. So here, if you see Arjuna's relationship with the God, he says, as a father to son, as a friend to a friend, as a lover to a beloved. See how personal it has become. From he somewhere in the clouds, it has now become a personal relationship. That is why this, this chapter is a very touching chapter. In spite of all of Arjuna's, whatever he's doing, it's still a very touching chapter. Lots of these parts of this chapter are used in bhajans also. Like treat me as a father to a son or friend to a friend. You must have heard bhajans of this nature. And so it's a very personal relationship. You're seeing the closeness that is coming with all that Krishna is doing for him. You're seeing how the state of the divine is coming closer to Arjuna. And when this happens, it's a little growth, right? Then you look back on your actions and you say, how could I have behaved so badly? Now, what is bad behavior? So, you say, oh, he shouted at somebody and he's behaving so badly, or he stole, or he robbed, or he murdered. This is what you call bad behavior. What is Arjuna calling bad behavior? See, as you grow up, you begin to identify as bad what never would you have thought before. Simple thing like encashing love. There is when a person is fond of you or has affection for you, he is willing to do many things for you. He or she is willing to do many things. for you. So, what will you ask that person to do for you? It takes character to not ask, knowing fully well that whatever you ask will be given to you. You know, in this world, it's very, very difficult to become a loving person. But even more difficult than being a loving person is the capacity to take love. Take love means you are able to absorb the feeling without encashing it in some way. I mean, there's a very small example of this. Let us say there's somebody high up in the organization, your chairman. And the chairman is a very loving person. So you go and delegate to him tasks. You ask him to do stuff, which really somebody else has to handle. And you don't understand you're doing something wrong. It doesn't occur to that person that you're behaving badly. And if that chairperson were to tell you, are you mad? What are you telling me to do? Then you will say, see, such a rude and arrogant person. Don't get it. So we claim goodness, which really isn't. See the difficulty in this whole thing. That is why Viveka Buddhi has to be developed. So there's no answer to this. Who's going to tell the person? Who's going to explain to the person? So when you develop, when that relationship with the Lord becomes closer, that means now you're a more developed person. You look back on your actions and you say, how could I have been such an idiot? And when he's saying I behaved badly, what is he saying? He's saying I treated you as a friend. That is what he's referring to as bad behavior. This kind of discrimination comes when we start maturing in life. You begin to realize that what you did, which at that time to you seemed completely normal, seemed completely okay, now occurs to you. It occurs to you that my behavior was less than perfect. So in these verses, though there isn't very much philosophy, there's a lot of psychology for us to sort of be able to understand. This other thing also, you know what he said? I have seen what has not been seen before, and I am delighted, but I am distressed. The typical emotion of a person who takes on more than they can handle. So I'm delighted, okay? Now I become chairman of my company. I'm delighted, but I have no idea what to do, so I'm distressed. You've taken on more than you can handle. So these are the emotions that will go through the heart of someone who, who goes through all these things. So where were we last time? So show me mercy. I can't take it. It's like, you know, suppose a man from a slum, a man or a woman from a slum, suddenly goes to a 5-star for dinner. He'll be delighted that he has gone to a 5-star. Nobody from the slum has gone before. And yet he's totally distressed. It's not like he's happy. So similarly, on the spiritual path, if you try to do more than you're capable, then everybody will say, oh my God, look at what this person has done. It's fantastic. So you're happy with that. Happy means that superficially happy. But in your heart, you're distressed. Therefore, it's a greatly important thing to remember on your spiritual journey. You are answerable only to yourself. Nobody else. You know, many people will tell you, oh, you're doing Vedanta and you're doing this. Who will talk like that? People who themselves are not doing Vedanta. So I'll give you a good answer. We tell them, if you think I'm not doing Vedanta, it's because you haven't studied Vedanta. That will shut them up. Because people try to bully us. They'll say, oh, they will try and put you up to some standard, which basically means their desires will be fulfilled, and claim that you are not living correctly. So you are answerable to no one but yourself. Remember that. Otherwise, this situation will come. You're delighted that everybody is so happy with you. You're distressed in your heart because you've not been true to yourself. So, having seen what was not seen before, I am delighted. Yet my mind is distressed with fear. Fear that comes out of ignorance. Imagine being with God and being frightened. You're with that which can only do you good, but you're frightened. Show me, O God, that form only. Have mercy, O God of gods, O Lord of the universe. Have mercy. Have mercy. That magnitude of what we are approaching, and we can't. We fall short of it. We fall terribly short of it. Therefore, have mercy. Have mercy. If you remember, one of the qualities of spiritual development was abhayam, no fear. So this is accelerating beyond your level. Because if it was your level, there would be no fear. All right, any questions up to this point? So, verse 46. Kiritinam gadinam chakrahastam ichchami tvam drashtumaham tathaiva tenaiva rupena chaturbhujena sahasrabaho bhava vishwamurte kiritinam gadinam chakrahastam ichchami tvam drashtumaham tathaiva tenaiva rupena chaturbhujena sahasrabaho bhava vishwamurte kiritinam gadinam chakrahastam ichchami tvam drashtum aham tathaiva. Tathaiva, just like that, drashtum. Drashtum means to see. Tvam drashtum, to see you. I want to see you like that. Like that means what? Kiritinam gadinam chakrahastam. Kiritinam, crown. Gadinam, with the gada. Chakrahastam. Chakrahastam. Ichchami, I wish. Tvam drashtum. I wish to see you. Tathaiva, like that. Now what is he seeing? He's saying Sahasrabaho. Thousands of arms. He's saying, Baba, please show me your four-armed form. Don't show me this. So what does it mean? It means that that is what he can handle. Not this millions of hands and all this beyond his comprehension, but he can handle the four forms. Tenaiva rupena, that rupa alone, chaturbhujena, the four arms, O Sahasrabahu, O thou with 100,000 arms, Bhava Vishwamurte. Become, Bhava means become again, come back to four-armed. Remember, see, he's not asking for two-armed, normal two-armed human being is not asking for. He's asking for four-armed. Why four-armed instead of two-armed?
That's a more developed form than the two-armed form.
Yeah, because he can take that much. He's a much better person than most human beings, right? So he is a developed person. It's just that he's gone too far ahead. So he can handle four. Very good. He can handle four. He can handle that much of better than normal, but he can't handle 1,000. So he says, Kiritinam gadinam chakrahastam. Kiritinam, crown. You will see that all the gods are shown with crowns here. This iconography in India, since we have a very old culture, what has happened is it has developed a lot. Imagine 10,000 years people have done this, right? And each person will express it in his or her particular way. It's the same idea, but it's expressed. Now, let us say that a person, in olden times, everybody went to the Gurukuls, right? So they all grew up with the knowledge of Vedanta. Now, what happens when you grow up with the knowledge of Vedanta? Somebody will become a weaver, somebody will become a painter, somebody will become a sculptor. So the sculptures or the artists, all of them were all exposed to the ideas. So when they grew up, they expressed these ideas. So the sculptures, the painters, their art form was very highly developed. In dance and everything, it's very highly developed. And that form, whatever they were using for their art, was used to express the ideas of Vedanta. So they showed a god, all gods. They put a crown on the head of that god. That crown indicates the sovereignty of the Lord to this world. Meaning, without the Lord, nothing is going to happen in this world, right? So he is the king, he's the sovereign, he's the highest, he's the greatest, he's the best. How will you show that? Now, you're a sculptor. You are not the kind of person who talks. You use your hands to communicate. So what would you do? How would you tell the world that your Lord is the sovereign? You give him a crown. So that's how this iconography was developed. Then what else did they do? They showed him with 4 arms. You've seen the Murti of Vishnu in any temple, you'll see he's got 4 arms. He's got a the Chaturbhuja Vishnu Roop has got 4 arms. It has got the Kamal in one hand, the lotus. It's got the conch, the seashell, the conch. It's got the Gada, and it's got the chakra. Remember Sudarshan chakra, right? So, 4-armed with 4 things. Remember, you're not saying a single word. You're communicating because you studied Vedanta and now you're communicating the truths of life through your form, which happens in this case to be sculpture or painting or something. So what did they show? They showed God holding a lotus. The lotus represents, as you have often heard, lotus represents the truth. So one arm of the Lord is holding that lotus, means it's representing the truth. The other arm holds a conch. The conch says nothing, does nothing. But if you put it to your ear, if you listen to it, you can hear. Similarly, the conscience within us does nothing unless you put your ear and listen to what it's saying. It's just a quiet voice and you have to pay attention. Only then you will know the path of the right thing. So this conscience, though the sound is there, you can't hear it unless you pay attention. If you pay attention to what it is saying, you reach the lotus. If you refuse to listen to what it is saying, you will get a gada. All the knocks and shocks, all the troubles, all the problems of life will start. At that stage, at least we should correct ourselves. If even then we don't correct ourselves, then comes the chakra, annihilation. This is true of individuals, it is true of societies. It basically means live the correct life. If you choose not to live the correct life, you will get into trouble. And if you choose not to correct yourself even after the trouble, then you will annihilate yourself. So, a simple example. eat the right food, do the right exercise, sleep the right amount, do the right things. Live a disciplined life. You will get the benefits of it. You choose not to live that life, then something will start hurting and aching. You go to the doctor, doctor will say, go for a walk every day, eat the right food, don't be stressed. The doctor will tell you all this. Now, if you listen to the doctor, correct yourself, you'll still get the benefits. If you choose to ignore even what he has said, then you lead yourself into bigger troubles, into huge troubles. You annihilate yourself. So similarly, with finances, do your finances properly, you will be financially secure. Don't do them, you'll get credit card bills. At least then correct yourself. If even then you don't correct yourself, you will annihilate yourself financially. Spiritually, do your morning studies. Do your 3 yogas. You will reach the truth. Choose not to do it, troubles will start. If you don't correct yourself even after the troubles, well then, face the consequences. So here is sculpture or iconography teaching us the same laws that Vedanta teaches us. That's why all our literature, all our culture, every aspect of it explains to us the same basic laws of life. Because remember, this was the culture of the land. From childhood, they learned this. So each person is at different levels of development, but always with some background of that. So Kiritinam Gadinam. Kiritinam, Gadinam, Chakrahastam. You realize he's using the 2 symbols of destruction over here. Gada and Chakra. I mean, it's a four-armed form, which he's also familiar with, but he's using these 2 because of the context he is in. Poor fellow is terrified. He knows he has to either get the Gada or the Chakra at the moment. He has lost the first 2. So, Ichchami Tvam Drashtum Tathaiva. Ichchami Tvam Drashtum. I desire to see you. Teneva Rupena. That Rupa, that Chaturbhuja Rupa. Chaturbhuja 4. Sahasrabhav. O Sahasrabhav. O Vishwamurte Bhava. Become. O you 1,000 arm form. O you Vishwamurte. Vishwamurte means the Murti of the Vishwa, universal form. Bhava, become. Please, relax, come down. Don't take such a strong form. Just relax a bit. So I want to see you as the 4-arm form. Meaning, as you grow, what seems astounding becomes commonplace. That's even as you grow in character, people will say, oh, how do you manage to stay so calm? How do you always manage to come up with such good ideas? How do you think? For somebody else, what appears to be, oh my, how do you do it? For you, it's just normal, everyday, commonplace life. That's what it is showing us. Any questions on verse 47? Is anybody new today? Nobody's new today. Anybody is not able to understand what is going on, needs any further explanation? So, verse 47. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Prasannena Tavarjunedam Rupam Param Darshitam Yoga Tejomayam Vishwamanantamadhyam Yanme Twadanyena Nadrushta Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya prasannena tavarjunedam Rupam param darshitam atma yoga tejomayam vishwamanantamadhyam yanme twadanyena nadrushta purvam. Maya prasannena. Excuse me. Maya prasannena, by my grace. Idam rupam, this roop, this form you have seen. Here is our indication that it is by my grace you have seen this Atma Yoga, by my yoga. By my yoga means not by your yoga. In other words, you have got something you don't deserve. Spiritual growth comes through my own yoga, right? By your yoga, I cannot get anything. So Krishna is saying, by my yoga, you have got it. What does that mean? That when we are in the presence of an individual who's more grown than us, who is of a greater stature than us, then temporarily we get lifted up to see things that we would never see on our own. This is the result of that person's growth, not our growth. So in the ashram, and now when we do the course also, Swamiji used to be there for, he used to go away on in the middle of the week for 2-3 days and come back. And so why would he, no explanation that he gave, just that he would teach from maybe like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday to say Monday or Tuesday, and then go away and then come back again on Friday or something. Like 2-3 days in the week you wouldn't be there. So you'd think, oh, he wants a holiday. It's not that he wants a holiday. Why would he do that? Why should he leave? Firstly, he calls everybody to the ashram to study and stay. Then he's not even teaching them, he's gone away. And why did you call me here if you're going away? Just think about it. In his presence, every one of us will be of like self-realized souls. Nobody has any problem with anything. But when his presence leaves, then our real nature will come up. Only when the real nature comes up can we deal with it. But too much real nature comes up, will create chaos. So he just gives you a small window, little nonsense comes up. And then by the time he's back again, you can sort of straighten yourself out again. So in the presence, even in the organization, right? The boss is there. People will be working. Even in your own home, right? You are in the home, the staff is working. You go away, the whole level of everything will come down. So in the presence of somebody who is living up to higher standards, we all become better. So you start seeing something. This is, of course, I'm giving you examples in the world, but that's really what happens. Suppose in your family, everybody is a very noble person. Then you will live a life of nobility. But then when you go outside and you meet people who are not so noble, then your real nature will come out. So you need to see who you really are. Otherwise, in the presence of a person or in the presence of that environment, you're also good. Even in the class, right? Now as we are in the class, there's a certain degree of silence in our mind, isn't it? What happens after the class? The silence goes away and the clamor starts. That's why many people come to class, because they say they get a lot of solace from it. They are seeing Vishwarupa Darshan of their own type. This class is not meant to give solace. The class. It's a class. It's meant for knowledge. But if you treat it as a method of solace, then the solace also will go away after some time. It's only when you treat it as a method of knowledge will the solace continue. Anyway, immediately at least, whoever comes, they will experience solace. Because for some time, this monkey mind that's running all over the place and jumping from branch to branch just sits down for a bit. But why does it sit down?
Because it's focused on a goal. The mind is focused.
Because of the presence of the teacher.
Because of this environment. Who said that? I didn't see anything come up here.
Meera.
Meera, oh, okay. Yes, Meera, you're right. How come it didn't come up? Normally when someone speaks, they come onto the front screen. It's because of the conducive environment. All of us can become here. Let this environment change and it's gone. So he says, Maya prasanni, by my grace, by my yoga, O Arjuna, you have seen this. Don't attribute seeing Vishwa Rupa Darshan to your own self. It's not yours, it's my doing. Also, it's my doing in the sense that I have shown this to you. There is nothing to be seen like this. I have shown it to you. Tejamayam Vishwam Manantam Adhyam. This Tejomayam. Tejomayam means filled with Tej. Maya means to be filled with something, to be absolutely filled with that thing. So you saw this thing filled with Tej, with brilliance. Vishwam Anantam. The universe, Anantam. So what is the Vishwarupa Darshana really? It is that if we have to understand what it is our own comprehension of the vastness, the magnitude of this whole phenomenon, the whole phenomenal world, and our place in it. It is a miracle. It's a miracle that we exist. Imagine this universe spread across billions and billions of stars with uncountable planets around those stars. And can you imagine the vastness of the whole thing? And life as we know it is only here. And amongst these life forms here, only one life form is capable of something higher. You understand the gravity of what you're into. That is really understanding the Vishwarupa Darshana. So you've seen the primal, infinite, supreme, resplendent form, which has not been seen by anyone other than you. Not been seen by anyone other than you. The nature of truth is that anyone can approach it. We know that. Now, why is he saying no one other than you has seen it? He's only giving us a hint that this seeing of forms and all is not the eventual truth. Don't get carried away. There's no form. It's interesting to read this because people quote this verse to talk about these verses, to quote about how God has a form. If it be true that God has a form, then surely all of us should be able to see it. I mean, in due course, but we should all be able to see it. Krishna himself says, nobody but you can see it. Nobody can but you can see it? What is that even supposed to mean? How is that even possible? If there is, I don't know, if there is a glass of water lying there, then all of us should see it, right? How can nobody but me see it? Then there's something odd, no? Suppose I say, Do you see this elephant here? Do you see an elephant here? What does that mean? No, 9, you see an elephant here? Don't get confused. Sometimes in philosophy class, we get so confused, even normal things become. Deepraj doesn't see it, 9 doesn't see it. Bharat, you see this elephant here?
I have to focus hard, Janki ji. No, I'm kidding.
Not getting it. No, no elephant you're seeing. Who else? Who else? Varsha, Adhikari. Can you see an elephant here?
No.
Okay. If nobody but I can see it, what does it mean?
You are hypnotized.
Something is wrong, no? Krishna is saying, nobody but you can see it. So it proves to us that
Mental image.
It's not the truth.
it's not the truth. Only I can see means what is that supposed to mean? Only I can see. How is that possible? No such thing is possible. And these are our indications. But he's done it throughout now. He's going to tell you how no form exists. But he does it very subtly. So those who see it, see it. Those who don't see it will say, no, 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 he showed a form. So you can decide for yourself how you want to take it.
So even Sanjay isn't seeing it. He's just reporting what Arjuna is saying that he's seeing.
He isn't seeing means he is, his claim is to have seen. That you heard him, no? What he said. Because remember when the Vishwarupa Darshana started, he started reporting to us, which is another indication that it's third party reporting, no? So these are all the trouble with the scriptures or with any knowledge, with any depth. The way it is put, I mean, no, how do you express a truth? Whatever way you express it, people will have to interpret it in their ways. So any literature of any depth, you will find multiple interpretations. Now, is yours right or wrong? How will you know?
By seeing how it can predict.
Okay, that is one way. That's a good way. Krishna answers the question by his very famous words. Ya pashyati sa pashyati. He who sees it, sees it. After a point, there is nothing anyone can say or do. You cannot make anyone see it. Suppose, okay, 9 is saying 2 plus 2 is 5. I'm saying 2 plus 2 is 7. Jay is saying 2 plus 2 is 22. Shushmita is saying 2 plus 2 is 42. Okay? Only Deepraj says 2 plus 2 is 4. Everybody else is giving a different figure. How do you know which is the right figure? There's no way to know.
Pashyati sa pashyati.
He who sees it, sees it. He who sees it, sees it. What can you say beyond that? So, all these verses, it's like that. You take it the way you want. Nobody can prove to you one way or the other. He who sees it, sees it. You read now, we're going to read, we're reading what he's saying ourselves so you can see. So, verse 47, clear? By my grace, O Arjuna, this form of mine has been shown to you by my own yoga. Supreme, resplendent, primal, infinite, universal form of mine, which has not been seen before by anyone else than you. Which in itself, the statement, as you know, is incorrect, and yet he's making the statement. You know who all have seen the form before Arjuna?
Yashoda and Duryodhana.
And Duryodhana. Yeah, they've seen also, no? So he's saying, well, nobody other than you has seen this form. You all are free to interpret this in whatever way you want. You're reading the original text yourself. That's why it's so important to go back to original texts. Now you see why we're studying the Gita. If you ask me, I would not even recommend anybody study because it is a complex subject. And to be able to interpret this, you have to have studied so many things before. When this is a conversation between Arjuna and Krishna, it is not meant to teach anybody anything. So when they are having a conversation, they are talking normal, like how maybe you and I can talk someday, right? But when we are talking, any two people anywhere in the world are talking, there are many, many assumptions of what has been done before. Now, if you have not studied what has gone before and you come directly to the Gita, you come up with all sorts of things. Remember, this text was studied. How was it studied? First, you studied things like Panchatantra and all that sort of books. Then you studied books like Niti Shatakam, that sort of stuff. And you studied lots of literature and all. Then you came to things like logic and stuff, and Veda study, which was rituals and all. And slowly, you came to Vedanta. Not like this, straight away Bhagavad Gita. That is why we've made that course, Vedanta Foundation course. So that, it nowhere covers what the whole thing is before, but at least basic concepts are there. So I hope you all have all done the Vedanta Foundation course, because that will just make studying Bhagavad Gita more sensible. I hope you all have all done it. Most of you, I think, have done it, right? And those who have not yet done it, please do it. And if you say, no, I don't need to do it because I've been studying Vedanta for 20, 30 years, please do the course. Because when you do the course, you just get the whole overview. Because nobody has been doing it consistently. So you must have missed something here, missed something there, and you don't know you missed it because you missed it. But when you do the foundation course, then you have everything clear to you. So,
Janki ji,
yeah.
Janki ji, any time I can join this course or any specific time is there?
No, it's on the element. It's the self-paced course.
Okay.
And one time we were going to have a great ambitious plan that only those who have finished that course can do anything else with us. But that plan failed because then we put something up there as some ideal situation, never works. So that plan also failed.
Okay.
Okay, so any questions on verse 47? Okay, verse 48. न वेदयज्ञध्ययनेन दानैः न च क्रियाभिः न तपोभिरुग्रैः एवं रूपा शक्यहं नृलोके द्रष्टुं त्वदन्येन कुरु प्रवीर न वेदयज्ञाध्ययनेन दानैः न च क्रियाभिर्न तपोभिरुग्रैः एवं रूपः शक्यहं नृलोके द्रष्टुं त्वदन्येन कुरु प्रवीर न वेदयज्ञ ध्यान न दानैः न क्रियाभिः न तपोभिः रुग्रैः ugra tapa. So first line tells you na veda, not veda, na yagna, no yagna, dhyana, meditation, no, dana, no, kriyabhihi, rituals, tapobihi, with tapas, ugraihi, ugra tapas means rigorous tapas, rigorous austerities. not by any of these methods. Evam rupaha shakya. This rupa is shakya. When you say na veda, na yajna, na dhyana, na dana, na kriya, na tapa. Is there anything else in the spiritual path? He has covered every possible aspect of the spiritual path. The knowledge of the Vedas, the doing of the yajnas, tapas, dana. Is there anything else? The whole path, multiple ways he has covered. Evam rupa shakya, na shakya. Not by any spiritual method can you see this. What does it mean? You cannot see it. It's that simple. If by no spiritual act you can see this form, that means spirituality is not meant to take you to this form, isn't it? It's not a consequence of spiritual growth. Aham, I, nruloke. Nru is humans, nruloke, in manushaloke. Drashtum twadanyena. Drashtum tvat anena. You other than. In this world, I cannot be seen in this form by anyone other than you. Kuru Pravira. Pravira means the great hero. Veera, you know. Veera means hero. Pravira. Prakarshena Veera, like great hero. Kuru. Kuru means the Kuru family. All the Kauravas and the Pandavas together come from the Kuru family. So you are the great hero amongst the whole lot over here. O great hero of the Kurus, aham druloke drashtum tvat anyena. By anyone other than you in this world of men can't be seen. Drashtum, to see. It can't be seen like this. Not by the Vedas, not by the yajnas, not by meditation, not by charity, not by rituals, not by tapas. So neither by karma, nor by bhakti, nor by jnana. And how am I supposed to see you? In other words, you can't. Okay, now this is your interpretation. I'm reading to you what the text is saying. You decide for yourself how you want to take it. If by no spiritual path this form can be attained, what is this supposed to mean? This is not the consequence of spiritual growth. Then what is it a consequence of? He's already told us. What is it a consequence of?
The yoga of Krishna.
Maya prasanne. By my grace, I have given this to you. Spiritual growth cannot be handed over to anyone. Otherwise, we could see, whoever in this class is spiritually grown, we can tell that person, humko bhi thoda sa de dena. Right? We share, all of us, you have gone ahead. Like suppose somebody in this class is very rich. We can tell them, humko bhi thoda sa de do. But if somebody...
Can you do some favor to give me?
You say no like that. Can't. We don't know who is in this class spiritually grown and can we ask them for some? Suppose Naim is very spiritually grown. So Naim, will you give us some of your spiritual growth? Suppose we tell him, what will he do, bichara? What is he supposed to give us?
He will run away.
So each one has to do this himself. And he's saying that not by any of these methods can you achieve this form. In other words, you have only received a temporary vision because of my grace. And this is possible, right? I mean, even if you see it in a practical sense, suppose you're very confused about a problem, and then you go to an objective person, and then objective person just says the problem objectively, and suddenly you see something you never saw before. So it is Maya Prasanne, by my grace. In other words, it is because of the presence of that person or the words of that person that we were able to see things objectively. So he says, oh, great hero. Why is he saying, oh, great hero? All of this is all psychology. Remember, this is all dealing with emotion. So why is he calling him great hero here?
Poor guy is so dejected, he needs some encouragement.
To boost his moral. To boost his moral.
Correct. Something. The poor chap, he's broken at the moment. He's after seeing all. Little thoda usko boost dena chahiye. So he says, no one other than you has seen the oh great Pravira, oh great hero. And he's also talking to us in case we get carried away. So he says, neither by the study of the Vedas, nor by the yajnas, nor by gifts, nor by rituals, nor by severe austerities can I be seen in such a form. That's for us. For him is no one other than you can see it. O Kuru Pravira, O great hero of the Kurus, nobody other than you can see such a form. Okay, so it's the same general idea continuing. I hope you get it. He's told him, please chill. You have seen this because of me. And this is not the result of any spiritual sadhana or any spiritual growth. This is just a temporary vision that has been given to you. Okay, any questions? If not, what is this? Announcement. Yes, please go ahead.
Hari Om, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes.
Thank you, Omkar, for putting up the campaign. So we were just talking about boosting and motivation. So this is an announcement to boost our crowdfunding campaign. So as to say, as most of you would have received the message, we've started a crowdfunding campaign with Give India. Most of you would know that we are looking to buy land for the university, for our Vedanta Wisdom University. And Janki ji has been rigorously looking at potential plots, seeing which one would fit in. We've identified a few of them and also got into a target that we would need to make an offer on the land. So this crowdfunding campaign is a continuation of that effort. The wonderful thing about this campaign is that Give India is going to match a minimum of 20% of what is raised for the campaign. They also have other awards through the process of this campaign for March, where the matching from their end could even go as high as 25%. So let's assume someone offers us 10 lakhs, 2.5 lakhs potentially could also come from Give India, make it that contribution 12.5 lakhs. And not to mention that there is an ATG tax benefit, which everyone could avail in March before the end of the financial year. So here is a boost and motivation for everyone to look at the campaign page and then to spread it far and wide so that we come close to achieving our target for this campaign and then potentially go forward and even make an offer on the land and close the land for the university. If anyone has any clarifications, please reach out to Bharat or to me on this campaign, and look forward to everyone's partnership on this campaign. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Deepak. Deepak has been working hard to get this campaign going, and let's all support this. If you think that this is something worth doing, then let's do it, because it's not easy by any stretch of the imagination. And if we have to get it done, we all have to work for it.